Hi, and welcome to our WebRTC Fiddle of the Month. This time, we're going to talk about codec statistics changes, and especially what has happened in Chrome 107 and the changes that Google has done there. Philip?
Right. So what Google changed was to reduce the number of codec objects. And these codec objects in the statistics describe what codecs are used by the peer connection and are negotiated in the SDP. And they did two changes. The first was to fix a bug where Chrome generated separate objects for each media section in the SDP. So if you had a multi-party call with 50 participants, you had 50 times these objects for all the codecs used by the M-lines. And these objects weren't different.
Okay.
So this wasn't adding any value. It just created a lot of objects, which meant a lot of memory allocations, which slowed down performance. So that bug was fixed. And then they made another change to just generate objects for data that is actually used, for codecs that are actually in use. Because in SDP, you negotiate a lot of codec, like VP8, VP9, AV1, but you typically only use one of them at a time.
And I guess we're seeing a lot of changes that Google is now making in the statistics, and it feels like they're trying to squeeze the lemon wherever it comes to the performance because they've done most of the work that they could do elsewhere, like in the codec implementations themselves, the rendering, all of that pipeline. So they're getting to the nuances of optimizations.
Yes. And I mean, this is mainly about getStats, which is quite frequently used. So you typically call it at least once a second. And the problem here was that it created a lot of memory allocations, and the memory allocations are slow. And this was optimizing things.
So what do you have for us in the fiddle this time?
So for the fiddle, what we have is a comparison between Chrome Canary on the left and Edge stable on the right. So on the right is M106, on the left M108. And what we do is we simply create a peer connection, add audio and video, and then call getStats once after 5 seconds. And then we look at two things. The first is the number of objects in the statistics, and the second is the size of a JSON blob if you serialize the statistics.
Okay.
And what you see is currently we have 103 objects in the stats object, and these take up 30,000 bytes. And if we look at M108, that is greatly reduced. We are down to 31 objects and 13,000 bytes. And that is quite a bit. And that means every time you're iterating over the statistics, you have less objects to iterate over. And the browser also has less objects to create and then throw away after you're done with them. So this is quite a nice performance improvement.
And this is just for the default audio and video devices that you have?
Yes. I mean, we can try adding a couple more transceivers just for the sake of doing something interactive. So PC1 and transceiver video. And let's see if that changes the number of statistics we get. So we had 103, and we're waiting for it. Now we're at 197. And if we do the same in Canary, we shouldn't see an increase anymore, because that has the M107 change to squeeze everything into things that are into one M line. So we still should get these 31-ish objects.
Ish is fine, it's 33 this time.
Yes, because we have more objects for the transceivers.
Yes, but it's not like double the number.
Yes. And if you go to things like 50 transceivers, then obviously you're getting a lot of big objects. That is pretty heavy. And no more as of Chrome 108.
Okay. Thanks for this, Philip. and see you next month in our next Fiddle of the Month.
Bye.